Hello and welcome. My name is Zafar Iqbal and you are watching the Mojo Story. Air Force Air Chief Marshal AP Singh has revealed unprecedented details of Operation Sindoor. He said that Indian air defense systems destroyed five Pakistani fighter jets and one large aircraft. Now, of these five Pakistani jets that were destroyed, also include F 16s and there were hits carried out in Jacobabad, Bolari command centers at Murid and Chaklala, six radars and key terror hubs in Bahawalpur and Murid Ke. Remember, Bahawalpur was the headquarter of Jaish-e-Mohammed and Murid Ke, the headquarter of Lashkar-e-Toiba. Now, damages were confirmed via satellite imagery. It's marked the largest ever recorded surface to air kill at about 300-kilometer range. Now, Air Chief credited political will, absence of operational restrictions, and S-400 missile system for the success, noting that unlike Balakot, intelligence evidence of terrorist casualties was clear this time. Now, remember that 4-day high-tech conflict ended on May 10 after Pakistan sought a ceasefire. The DGMO of Pakistan called up Indian DGMO and asked for a ceasefire. That is how this conflict came to an end. Let us quickly go across to our panel today to discuss this significant development. We're joined by uh, Group Captain. Let's open up our We're joined by Group Captain GB Vajpai, ex-consultant Flight Safety Air India. We're also joined by Praful Bakshi, Wing Commander, retired. Welcome to Mojo Story, sir. We're joined by Lieutenant General Sanjay Kulkarni, former Director General Infantry, and Group Captain Augustine Vinod. Welcome to Mojo Story, all of you. If I may start with you, Bajpai ji, the thing is that for the first time we are hearing right from the top at the Air Force that what exactly happened, how much of a damage was inflicted on Pakistan. Five jets and one big aircraft that was destroyed by India. Now, this is very significant. It must have crippled the Pakistani Air Force, which is why they sought a ceasefire in the end.
Good evening to all my panelists. It's a matter of great pleasure and honor to speak on Air Chief Marshal AP Singh's whatever he had talked today morning in Bangalore in one of the program. Because I was lucky enough and privileged to work with him from 2014 to 16. I have seen him from close quarters. He is a dedicated, hardworking, honest, plain speaking, excellent and exemplary Air Chief Indian Air Force has got, who is commanding the respect through his deeds. Mind it, he is the same Air Chief Marshal who had spoken against HAL mistakes 6 months back openly in air, wherein he pointed out late delivery of LCA Mark 1. He talked about quality issues. He is the same Air Marshal who had spoken, Air Chief Marshal who had spoken today morning. So I don't have any doubt whatever sentences, words, comma, full stop, he has spoken truth and only truth. Now it should bury to all those people who were looking for the sabut or the evidences of the damages which were incurred on Pakistan, whether it were the terrorist installations or it was the air bases or it was on their ground defense establishments or it was on the fighter jets. He has stated very categorically the five fighter jets have been destroyed, whether they were on tarmac or inside the hangar, and one more big aircraft, which, as per best information available in the media, was the AVEX. This is a massive damage. We were enjoying almost a air superiority, and wherever we wanted to attack, we could have done. But he also said Our intention was not to engage in a war. Our intention was to teach them lesson against the terrorist attack. Mind it, it was not a terrorist attack. It was a sort of religion-based genocide terrorist attack. So against that, it was a befitting reply by Indian armed forces, and they had set a new norms, a new standard, which others have to follow, and they followed. Mighty US and the Israel, while attacking on Iran, they did precisely same thing. Whatever they were specific objectives were there, they finished it, and after that, no more furtherance of the war. With these
Right.
words, I would like to open this debate.
Right. Praful Bakshi, I know we have spoken about it, but what was missing perhaps in all of this was this has come too late. There is a public relations wing of the military that works, but we never heard anything of that sort. What we saw was very controlled sort of information that was coming in, unlike Pakistan, which was giving out all sorts of information without any verification. But on one hand, you have controlled information, on the other hand, you have a lot of information. So obviously, that narrative is going to dominate. Do you think that there was a problem there? The war of narratives, India has decisively won on the military terms, but on the war of narratives, India really lagged behind.
Zafar Saab, thank you very much. Where is the very strange thing when you're standing at the podium of victory and you're still not very sure what has happened? You know, this happens because the world from right Second World War, don't forget Goebbels, you know very well how the narrative works. Until and unless you have the people's mind in control, until you have a proper war narrative, your objective is never realized. You may have got your objective. You may have killed a tiger. You still don't realize. This is the problem when you have to pay the price for this. In a democracy, your armed forces are generally not allowed to carry out this task due to various reasons. You require a separate program if I will start that topic. Why we have to control the narrative of armed forces in a democracy. That is there. Indian public relation of armed forces is controlled by I&B ministry. That is there. Let me tell you now. Probably perhaps most of you don't know. This is never done. This is only done in India, not in Pakistan. Even in America, it's not done. Even, I mean, largest democracy. Anywhere. Why didn't the Army PRO and the Air Force PRO speak then? To tell you the truth, they would have had to have clearance to speak. This is where the problem arises. So until and unless you be very clear as to how you will project, actually Air Chief the public relations should be directly handled by the Air Chief, his office, because his objectives are being met. Why should you try to transfer it to some other ministry? This is our basic problem, and you saw the results. That till now, your people are in doubt, your politicians are in doubt, everybody is in doubt as to what happened. Why did you stop? Why did you not continue? All these things, whether you shot down or whether you got shot down, even that is in question. This is a very heavy price to pay for this sort of indulgence. I think high time our doctrine should be very clear. That is where I keep harping on like a parrot. When I use the word doctrine, people may probably say, ye pagal ho gaya hai. But question is, we have to rewrite our doctrine. That is why this problem arises. Your problem arose in 1962. Your doctrines are not very clear. So everybody said, China maar dega, tum dab jaoge, all cities will be bombed. You believed it. Question is, nobody knew that you had 6 squadrons of fighter squadrons standing there in the northeast, but everybody was very scared. This is the problem. So, Zafar Saab, when you are saying, yes, having achieved our objective, which now Air Chief has to come out and tell you, damn it all, you have achieved this object. You have achieved, and we shot down. Why couldn't we tell it on that day? Why was it?
Right.
Why
One
everybody?
of the reasons that I think it's just a guess, General Kulkarni, is that if F-16s were destroyed, now India has a relationship with the US. So perhaps one of the reasons that information was withheld. But now that Trump has imposed 50% tariffs, so those red lines have been crossed and now there's no problem. So India is just giving out those details because ultimately F-16s are uh, have come from the US. So perhaps that could be one reason that this information was blocked for all this time.
Zafar, thank you very much. And must say, my pleasure today to be amongst the three air warriors, brilliant air warriors, distinguished air warriors. And we are discussing something that it is they who turned the table. It is they who won the war for us in Operation Sindoor. And, hats off. And I must also, in the same breath, be able to say, with what restraint, with what kind of the entire wherewithal available to them, and each one of them, I must say, worked so brilliantly that today, well, I would say right from the 22nd of April till date, you can always say that, of course, we all knew and the celebrations were there, but today is positively a day of celebration. Not for any other reason. The Air Chief Marshal himself admitting it in non-certain terms. He knew it. We met him a number of times. It's not that I have not met him. I know it. Everything we know it. But then he said it in an open forum that yes, the Pakistanis lost five jets. The Pakistanis, at a distance of over 300 kilometers, lost an attack on ELINT over there. Yes, the Pakistanis have their air defense was destroyed. Their entire setup, their terrorist locations have been hit very hard. That the S-400 was a game changer, and that the air bases, and we had none other than the Prime Minister saying so in the Parliament that the air bases are in the ICU. We had the Raksha Mantri saying in the Parliament that over 1,000 of his missiles and drones were fired, all of them intercepted and not. And we've had the NSA say so openly that can anyone show me one proof of the destruction caused by a missile or a drone of the Pakistanis? And all of it they've been able to show. And even from Air Chief Marshal AP Singh's statement that what he had done, even in Balakot, that people had to say such a thing was something that it hurt him, that not within the country, not us must ever doubt what the professionals are all about. I think it was a fantastic show of strength. It was a constraint with restraint because it was purely for one simple reason. This wasn't an operation against Pakistan. It was an operation which was conducted for what they had done on the 22nd of April, and therefore the destruction of the terrorist bases. That the Pakistanis retaliated despite having been told what one had done. Thereafter, the retaliation by the Indians, which resulted in not almost, Pakistan coming on the knees and within less than 90 hours seeking a ceasefire, which of course we accepted it because our aim was different. Aim was whatever people might say, whenever you go into a war or when you go in for an operation, everybody has a specific aim. And all of that aim, once that aim is achieved, well, aim plus, we don't want to get it. Why this, that is a different story altogether. But at this point of time, I think whatever the Air Chief Marshal has said, we must accept, and not that we must accept the opposition or people who have doubt must not have doubt. That is what they must respect what the government says. They must respect because the government also would be dependent on the professionals to be able to tell them what they have done, and all of it with proofs. Proof because we heard what had happened in surgical strike, we heard what happened in Balakot, we heard with the proof. And I don't think anybody now has any doubt. I must compliment each one of them for the total success in Operation Sindoor, and they couldn't have been better. I think all Indians must feel proud. What the Pakistanis do, it is their doing. We are not concerned. So much so that the American president himself has admitted, while he said he didn't know, I didn't know, when he himself said, Mr. Trump, that I was given to understand that five aircraft have lost. Here it is, the Air Chief Marshal AP Singh saying very clearly that five Pakistani aircraft, including F-16, have been destroyed, and that one of the ELINT or an evac at 300 kilometers engaged by has been hit, and all of it. I think wonderful. My heartiest congratulations to every Indian
Yeah.
Heartiest congratulations to the team of Operation Sindoor who have achieved and made us all proud Indians and couldn't have been better. Yeah, Zaf.
Right. Group Captain Augustine, Vinod, I wanted to ask you a very specific question. He spoke about S-400 system and he said that it was a game changer. Now, from a pilot's perspective, how does such a system alter both offensive and defensive planning? Because it has played a crucial role during this operation. That was clearly mentioned by the chief. He said that Pakistani assets were kept at bay, and one of the reasons was S-400 system that was operational, and that really played a pivotal role.
Thank you, Zafar Bhai, for inviting me and such great panel. My senior sitting here. Let's come to point per se. The Operating Sindoor in India proved that it's resolved.
Yeah,
By two things. One, there was a polity freedom, and
yeah,
two, we had the capability to change the balance of power, and that is very, very important. A full backing of freedom to act, and which led to three things. One, we coordinated with other services, you may clearly mentioned,
yeah,
including naval assets. We stuck on purpose, not indiscriminately. And third, we stuck with precision. And this precision word, Zafar is very, very important. He harped upon it quite a bit. When he showed the building, he said, see, this is the building we hit. And from open source, this is the image we got. But the next building is nearly intact. We wanted to ensure very least amount of collateral damage, which is for a responsible nation, it's a very, very important thing. We don't want anyone who is not involved in terrorist activity dying. So
yeah,
you don't want गेहूं के साथ गुण भी पिसता कहते हैं हिंदी में. We didn't want that. So this was a decisive engagement
yeah,
aimed at one thing and one thing alone, which was to break the backbone of terror infrastructure in Pakistan, which Pakistanis should have, complimented us, thanked us because they could not do it themselves.
yeah,
That is the most important aspect. Now, coming to your question per se, I wanted to, sort of break it down into major, let's say major takeaway or major key points. One of the biggest key pointers, Zafar Bhai, is that largest single day surface to air kill in the history of aviation, in the history of military, happened on that day when we took out an AEW C or an ELINT aircraft at 300 kilometers. Post that statement, I have been looking at, being a military historian, I've been looking at many battles and wars. I did not find a single kill which has happened at a range of 300 kilometers. Imagine now if you bring up sometimes as we are going along the map of Pakistan, the northern portion of Pakistan, from say Srinagar to Islamabad or any other portion, is less than 300 kilometers. They don't have the strategic depth. So imagine as a pilot, for me, the moment I take off, we call it the rip. Rip is immediately turn away from the incoming missile or the incoming danger. The moment I take off, I am in rip condition. I'm supposed to turn around, tuck tail and run immediately after takeoff. As a pilot, it is a very, very scary feeling for me, which he covered. He said many aeroplanes were, many forces were gearing up against us. The moment we fired one missile, they were all
yeah,
gone.
yeah,
So that's an important thing. And neutralization of a force multiplier platform in itself is on the very first day. I have not heard anywhere. If you have heard
Not
me,
coming out
please
very
correct
clear in
me.
this, but
It is an extremely important thing. We operate American equipment, we operate French equipment, we operate Russian equipment. You don't have to praise one country's equipment against the other.
right,
Therefore, it's very important for us to understand two statements that he made. One, S300, S400 was a game changer. And two, it completely changed the way the wars was fought from across the border. They could not come any close. They could not do, Zafar Bhai, a swift retort. They tried like hell. They could not do a swift retort. The game-changing performance. And very, very important thing, and post 1947 till date, I'm sure the August panel can correct me if I'm wrong. I've not heard a military leader come out on the podium and say, we had complete backing of political clearance. Whatever restrictions we put on ourselves is self-doing based on one important aspect called escalatory matrix. Now, let me explain this explanatory matrix taking 10 seconds. On the very first day, you don't fire a nuclear missile at each other.
Yeah.
It does not mean we will not use it, but in the matrix or in the steps, पायदान में सबसे ऊपर में या सबसे आखिरी में आता है using of nuclear forces. So, when you're going to use nuclear forces, it will be based on a certain escalatory matrix. So, when in the escalatory matrix, we did not want to hit the military targets, they forced us to do so. Therefore, we responded in kind. But you also said very important thing. We didn't want to decimate them. We wanted to send them a message. Look at the 9 places. These are in the 9 places. Surgically, these are the places we hit. Now is the time for you to come on your knees and beg, which is the big beg they did. And we granted them their wish 2 hours after. From the time the call was made to the time the RDGMO responded back, 2 घंटे का फर्क था. उस 2 घंटे हम चुप नहीं थे. Very important thing, Zafar Bhai, you covered Kargil. If you remember, all those journalists, senior journalists who covered Kargil, they know. Initially, when we talked about Kargil, we talked about failure of intelligence. NSA was formed, a lot of intelligence cohesion happened. This is the first time a seamless joint force execution that I have seen happening beautifully. And he also praised, if you remember, the positioning of CDS. CDS got the cheese together. NSA was there. All these security apparatus were together. We got HUMINT. He mentioned that word very clearly. HUMINT is obtained by IBM or RNAW. So all of us came together in a seamless joint force execution. And whatever we did in Balakot, we did not have videos and photos to show for.
Yes.
We had it this time. And he used the word ghost of Balakot. So the ghost of Balakot has been shooed away this time.
Right.
And like I mentioned earlier, the psychological blow to Pakistani Air Force was tremendous. They could not come anywhere close. He mentioned that, which means if at all the losses that we have had, my question mark, is it because of enemy action or something else? If at all there was a loss. Because they could not come anywhere close. वो मार कैसे सकते थे 5 हवाई जहाजों को हमारे? That's a very big question mark. I leave it at question mark.
Right.
Tech integration maturity was exceptional. मैं बोलते हुए मेरे रोंगटे खड़े हो रहे हैं. We technically integrated everything, including naval assets. Only thing we lacked, he said, was BDA, bomb damage assessment. Normally, हम लोग हवाई जहाज को भेजते हैं, photo लेके आता है, फिर then we look at it. This time we used satellite. We did not have live video feed, except in one odd cases where he said we had a direct telelink, and he posted that video for us, for the world to see, for Indians to see, feel proud. Over to you.
Right. Those are very important points that you have made, and you know that today's presentation clarified so many things. There was still a lot of fog in all of that. What happened? There was confusion. Well, let us first hear exactly what he said about these 5 jets that have been destroyed by the IAF, 5 Pakistani jets and 1 aircraft. This, I think, was a major statement because so far the narrative has been one-sided. There has been no. Now it's come from the top. Let's just hear what he said exactly.
Different satellite which is giving you. So here, sorry. So here you can see the damage, which is of course not coming out very clear in this, but other pictures, here these 2 buildings, you can see the damage much clearly. again, another big set of buildings, and you see the damage that is coming out. What I can show you here is there's hardly any collateral that you see. Of course, from that distance, it is not very easy to make out, but still all the adjacent buildings are fairly intact. The buildings that were targeted were based on intelligence. And this is the main building of theirs, where the weapons have gone in, and it's badly damaged. Now, one thing which was good this time was that not only did we have these satellite pictures, we also had a lot of input from the locals, media, which was giving us the inside pictures, because these were areas which were open to public kind of areas also. So there were a lot of people who were going in and out. So on the net, we could get pictures like this and videos like this. This is the same building that I just showed you. You look at the damage that has been caused inside. It's all on the open net available, so I've also picked up from there.
Yes, in a separate soundbite, he clearly spoke about the 5 jets that were taken out. But Group Captain Vajpai, one of the important things is that the chief mentioned that there were no restrictions and clear political will. How crucial is political? How crucial was that? Because there's already a narrative that was played on that, Air Force hands were tied, so they couldn't do much. That was one of the narratives of some of the politicians, that see, this is what has happened, but that thing has been laid to rest today. That narrative has been laid to rest today. There were no restrictions. He made it clear that whatever restrictions were put by the military themselves to stop it from further escalating. So these are two different cases.
What happens in the defense, whether it is Army, Air Force or Navy, throughout the year, we keep doing our planning. It's not that on the day when this thing has happened, we were looking for the terrorist hideouts point. It is in our knowledge. As Augustine was speaking, it was a excellent display of coordination among all the 3 forces. Plus, it was first time the intelligence has played a very vital role, and where in full credit should be given to Mr. Doval. Now, what you were asking, if a political dispensation gives a free hand to the defense forces, whatever they have planned, they have exercised, they can execute as per their plan, as per their situations. But once under a political pressure, suppose a particular government says, oh, what will happen? What will be reaction of China? What will be the reaction of USA? So all those things, permutation and combination takes place, and then it holds the hand of defense forces that you do this much, don't do this. Only thing, it was given free hand. So the defense forces, the coordinated team had made their specific objectives very clear. It is a retaliation towards the terrorist camps. Mind it, the way Augustine was telling, the escalation matrix, we had not attacked on the runways on the first day. It was, they had escalated it. We killed, we finished their 9 specific objectives of terrorist hideouts and intimated to them. Okay, now we have done our job. It's up to you. We have achieved our objective, but they escalated. They fired the missiles, the Chinese missiles PL-15. They fired the Turkish drones. They fired the long-range rockets on our northern and western sectors. So now India also escalated the matrix. Though our retaliation, since we had the free hand, we need not to go back every time to the government. Now this thing has happened, what to do? What this happened, what is to be done? It was a clear free hand. So we retaliated in such a way that their air defense got demolished, their runways got 11 major runways got damaged. So all those things happens when you give the free hand to military leadership to plan and execute as per your plannings.
Yes, and that also gives some clarity that there were no bindings as such. It was full freedom was given to the armed forces to plan and to execute the operation, which is very important and significant. Praful Bakshi ji, does this operation now signal a shift towards a deeper strategic, deep targeting beyond the launch bands? What we saw, that first surgical strike that happened after Uri was along the line of control. Then Balakot was a one spot that was picked up inside Pakistan, not in POK, that was struck. But this time we struck multiple terror camps. What does it mean for future India-Pakistan military engagements, particularly in light of what has been told by the Air Chief today?
Thank you, Zafar. It's quite obvious that there is a very serious change in the battlefield management approach of the armed forces. We have been talking of these joint operations for a very long time. Even when I was a young officer, even that time they were talking about it. Question is, when we are talking like at the moment when Vinod brought out S400, the question is S400 by itself, creates the condition where the multiple organizations can work together, like a joint integrated command. Now, with this 400-kilometer range, whether this is sector A, sector B, or sector C, sector commander, suddenly they realize that they require S400 on a broad frontage of 800 kilometers. Here is an S400 unit there. It can help anybody because it's a maximum range of 400 kilometers. Kill range, it has shown 300 plus kilometers this time. And from 10 meters to 30 kilometers, it can engage targets. That approach where the joint operations are made very easy. You have these these equipment which can be, utilized in various places to help the joint operations. This is what integrity of forces. First thing is we are going to look at that. Then we are looking at a change in doctrinal approach. Now we can see there's a closeness coming in between the military and the political leadership, thinking process. When Air Chief can tell them 6 months ago in HAL what was the shortcomings, not a single project has finished. It means he has a direct ear with the political head. This is in confidence amongst the military commanders that yes, what we are saying is going to be heard. This approach. So next time when you have doctrinal changes, you will see the inputs from the military commanders coming there. They will not be dictated. So when somebody has made that statement that we were doing with the hands tied back or boxing on one leg and all, no, that was an exaggeration. Somebody mentioned it out of excitement. I leave it at that. I personally feel that nothing like that was there. Our own problem was we were not be able to project what we were achieving. That is the thing which, of course, will also go in for a change. Yes, industrialization is there going to be this, and we are going to have the indigenization programs. That makes a lot of difference. If you have this, suppose this war was escalated longer, like you have a Ukraine thing going on, try to put yourself in that situation. Where do we stand? So we have to now cater for those sort of a scenario and not sit on our, on our hands and say, oh, nahi, हमारी लड़ाई तो 10 दिन की होती है, उससे ज़्यादा नहीं होगी. We can never talk like that. Our eyes are woken up. We have to now change our total approach. War reserve policy will have to go in for a change. You will not have these chiefs coming up every 6 months and say, हमारा 1.5 हफ्ते का war reserve है, 2 हफ्ते का war reserve है. That aspect has to change. One very important thing, let me tell you one thing. The ordnance procedures are going in for a change because the shelf life of the ordnance is very limited and you have to blast away our old weapon systems. That itself takes a very long time. So how do we do that? You know that the chain method of supply, supply and demand, the latest Japanese technologies which are coming up into that we have to adopt to and adapt, and then we have to see how we work. There are a lot of changes which are going to come in, but the strongest is that political leadership and military leadership are now very close. This is a very, very important and a good news. I personally feel that faster it happens, the better it is. Suffer.
Right. CDS also recently said that new wars cannot be fought with old equipment. It is a dynamic process. We have to keep up to speed and up to date with the new developments. But I would want my producer to actually play that soundbite where the chief mentioned that 5 Pakistani jets were destroyed before I go to General Kulkarni.
A different satellite which is giving you. So here, sorry. So here you can see the damage, which is of course not coming out very clear in this, but other pictures, here these 2 buildings, you can see the damage much clearly. Again, another big set of buildings, and you see the damage that is coming out. What I can show you here is there's hardly any collateral that you see. Of course, from that distance, it is not very easy to make out, but still all the adjacent buildings are fairly intact. The buildings that were targeted were based on intelligence. And this is the main building of theirs, where the weapons have gone in, and it's badly damaged. Now, one thing which was good this time was that not only did we have these satellite pictures, we also had a lot of input from the locals, media, which was giving us the inside pictures, because these were areas which were open to public kind of areas also. So there were a lot of people who were going in and out. So on the net, we could get pictures like this and videos like this. This is the same building that I just showed you. So look at the damage that has been caused inside. It's all on the open net available. So I've also picked up from there.
Right. General Kulkarni, such a spectacular military victory, shown by photographs, by satellite image, yet the perception management has been one problem, the public discourse that's playing in modern warfare. Don't you see there is a clear contrast?
Nobody is,
Yes.
yeah. So as regards it's nobody's business wanting to know anything more, because any operation, as I said, have a terms of reference, and those terms of reference are there. Now, just because we are a democracy and half-cocked knowledge with most other people, only professionals would know. Even I may have been in the army, but over the years now that I'm not there any longer, there'll be so many things I may not know exactly what's going on, how far has the modernization taken place, and therefore it is not, advisable. Of course, people will say, why not give a shut up call in the very beginning? That look, this is what has happened, and that's it. It doesn't work that way. Anything to be said when it comes from the Air Chief Marshal, nobody we can have a doubt, because over the time, from since the 7th of May till date, everything has been analyzed, examined, seen as to what has happened. Why hasn't Pakistan come out with anything more? Why is it that Pakistan is quoting our politicians on and off everywhere, including the UN, what could have been well avoided? It's very important. And any operation for that matter, anywhere, clear directions are given. Terms of preference are there. And then you're given a free hand as to what it is. Now, what could be the terms of reference? Terms of reference, look, do what you want to do. First and foremost, the Prime Minister comes back from his Middle East visit, cuts short his visits, comes back and tells them, look, action has got to be taken. We have to do. Everybody gets together. They have been told, look, they come back with their respective plans. Having got that, they know it. The terms of reference is very clear. No collateral damage. One. Second, the terrorists, I doubt the ones whatever ones have been shot, they have decided, okay, let's hit these. What would be the repercussions, pros, cons, everything decided. That's it. Only they are supposed to know. Who are we? To corner kham kha. There is no requirement. They know exactly what is to be done. After all, at the end of it, what is it that is required? Is that there was a task given, Operation Sindoor, with terms of reference, and all of them achieved. That is why we did not go beyond the terrorist locations, but we went only when Pakistan retaliated. And thereafter, this all this, and then Pakistan came on its knees. Finished. That's it. I don't think this was only time where you can hate a man, but you can't hate a nation. That's very important. That nation comes first, always and every time. There is no question. The nation has to have faith and trust. And today, all those who had doubts, what would they be thinking? They will be now feeling extremely bad and poor about themselves. Why the hell did we ask such a question in front of everybody? And therefore, it is very important that anything and everything done, there is no, everybody knows. We all of us know we work within a certain frame. And in that, I don't think there is a requirement to know कितना हुआ कैसे किया ये क्या किसने खाया कितना सोया. What is all this? The task has been given to the armed forces. The armed forces have done it well, and that's it. The government is the ultimate. After all, the armed forces work under the government. They are not exclusively on the road. There is a clear political directive, and we work as per the directive.
I
Whoever government is here.
I
Yeah.
agree completely, General Kulkarni. The fact that it's the way that all the information was given out today, it is a spectacular military victory. What I was saying that the chief made those disclosures today, and so far there has been a lot of confusion. We've seen the statements in the parliament. Some of the members who gave those statements, those crazy statements. Then there's another set of narrative that's going out. Because information is a very important factor in warfare. That's what I was asking, that how can we be so casual about it? If such an achievement has been made, that 5 Pakistani jets have been taken out, 1 big aircraft has been taken out, 6 radars have been brought down. It is not normal. This should have been, I don't know, maybe whatever the reasons, whatever the stuff. That's why I was asking, I want to ask Group Captain Augustine also. One of the reasons I think is that because these F-16s are American aircraft, so perhaps this information was withheld because India has a different equation with America. But now that America has slapped 50% tariffs, so now because of that, the reality has come out because these are American planes.
A lot of American equipment, Zafar bhai, we also operate.
Yeah.
So for us, to side with one country's equipment versus the other is something we don't do. We don't have to do. So in Balakot, the gap between battlefield success and perception management gave us space for doubt. And undoubtedly, like you said, if I was in the Air Force or if I was someone in the Air Force, I would have probably done it differently with regard to how to put out this information with public, because we are in a democracy and public need to know loud and clear and leave no room for speculation or confusion. That said, let me come to this battlefield success versus perception management, public perception management especially. So Air Chief, unambiguous confirmation of exact enemy losses and acknowledging the S-400's role and framing Operation Sindoor as a record-breaking engagement has currently left for no room for counter narratives. Even now, if someone is able to do counter narrative, he is either mad or he deserves to be thrown out of whichever seat he is sitting.
Yeah.
So by combining two things, one is transparency, and second, the confidence with which he came up on the podium and showed those images, which he could because we did job so well. And managing perception is also, like Bakshi sir said, is one of the very important aspects. In fact, I don't know, many people who are listening to us should know, Bakshi sir also teaches junior military officers or middle junior military officers how to carry out perception management. So he's a pandit in that, so to say. Shortcomings after Balakot, we did not have images. We did not have videos. So those were the ones, the holes we plugged it this time. Balakot ke time pe I was the director for air defense. So I know what Chief was talking about as far as Balakot is concerned. But this time, very specific things were covered. Specifically, we set 5 fighters and 1 AEW C, to which I would add at least 3 more. One C-130, the images of it we saw very, very clearly. One ELINT or AEW C at, this place, Bolari. So these two are confirmed. And one more probable loss at Noor Khan itself, along with C-130. So I would put it something like 8 plus 1, one air-to-air AWNC kill, which is the largest kill, like I said. So these are things that I would add to the losses. My perception is what opposition should have done. If I was in the opposition, would have asked कि आपने ये सारी चीजें पहले क्यों नहीं बताया, और आपने फौज के ढिंडोरा पहले क्यों नहीं पीटा और ज्यादा क्यों नहीं पीटा.
Yes.
Instead of saying how many did you lose, their line of fire should have been how many did Pakistanis lose and why are you not telling us how many they've lost.
Yeah.
So if that was the line that these people told, and I've been saying this many times, so many fence-sitting RW would have come into their fold. Today they have alienated themselves by asking such stupid questions and becoming poster boys and poster girls of Pakistan. Pakistan is ad nauseum running. I mean, I keep flogging myself, but it is part of my, learning to come in front of you all to talk sense. So I listen to Pakistani news as well. Ki bolte kya hai ye log? So I keep flogging myself, but I have to listen to them. And there are people from our country who are poster boys and girls over there. And why did they have to do that? I have absolutely failed to understand. Matlab, are they thinking with their head? God only knows. Over to you.
Yeah, many those narratives will be laid to rest today after that presentation by the Air Chief. But I would want to, and before I end, I would want to play that sound clip where he specifically mentioned about the damage incurred on Pakistani assets.
Mostly from, I'm talking about fighter aircraft are from S-400. We have at least 5 fighters confirmed killed and 1 large aircraft, which could be either an ELINT aircraft or an AWNC aircraft, which was taken on at a distance of about 300 kilometers. This is the actually largest ever recorded surface-to-air kill that we can talk about. And mostly from...
Yes. So that is making things very clear. And I wanted to end our show with that particular soundbite and leave it here for our viewers. But thanks so much to all our panelists for joining us and for sharing their thoughts. And thanks to our viewers for watching the Mojo Story. Thank you.
It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.